All right. Good evening, everybody. This is Haddock, and I'll be commentating the Mario Kart 64 150cc skips round 2. Tonight we have Obiyo versus Lewis, and both great competitors tonight. We have, looks like Lewis's tournament PB. I can get over to the spreadsheet here. Give me just one moment. Lewis's fastest and Obiyo's fastest so far has been a 34-37. Both of these players did win their first matchup in round 1, so now they are going head-to-head. Obiyo had bested Super Viper in round 1, and Lewis bested KT the Creeper as well. As far as that goes, there's a few minutes of difference between them, but as we have seen in previous matches, if you have joined us before, sometimes it can really come down to Special Cup. So I'm hoping for a very exciting race today, and I think it's going to be quite exciting. All right. So I am just waiting for the players to ready up, and then we are going to get started. I apologize for the delay. Hey, I appreciate that, Saitai. All right, both players are ready. I'm counting them down now, and we're going to get started. All right, and good luck to both competitors tonight. There's a little bit of randomness factor to the match. We can see Lewis is playing on the Japanese version. Obiyo, I believe, is playing on the English version, so we might see a little bit of a pathing difference coming up in the first course here. So first up is going to be Luigi Raceway, and you'll see both players are going to turn around right at the beginning. And what they're doing is they're touching a specific polygon on the ground next to the set of trees. And what's going to happen is it's going to confuse the checkpoints. And what they're going to do, either they're going to get triple reds right at the beginning, or they're going to drive around and get a blue shell. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to hit themselves out of bounds. Because Obiyo is playing on the US version, he's likely not going to do that because there's no out of bounds area to the left there. And what he's going to do is he's going to try to ramp over. Looks like he doesn't opt to do that. So looks like he's gonna drive around. Oh, Lewis also gonna play it safe. So neither of them did the checkpoint confusing. You are not required to do it right at the beginning. You can do it at the end of the lap as well. So Obiyo gonna drive around just normal. And what happens is there's a big balloon with Luigi's face on it, and it will 100% of the time, as long as you hit the item box, it's going to give you a blue shell. Now, normally in the normal no skips, it's gonna be a really bad item for you to get. However, in skips, you want to get it because you want to hit yourself with it in first. Lewis is going to have a little bit of trouble because he's now in 8th place with that, so he's going to have to get it caught up. And what happens is, right as they cross the finish line, they're going to hit themselves with it, and Obiyo is going to go out of bounds. And there's no clipping in the U.S. version, so you actually just fall into the tunnel halfway down the course. So he's going to save time. Lewis had to take a little extra time to get the blue shell because he missed it. It is on a very set cycle, and if you miss it, you're going to have to wait for it to come down again. So he did get hit by some CPUs. Lewis is going to have a pretty tough time here because, yeah, he's going to have to wait for that to come back. But I believe he did not touch that. He didn't go and touch that that polygon, so he actually did not get warped back behind the finish line, which is what was intended to happen. And he's going to have to get caught up here. Toad tumbling out of the way for some reason. Looks like everybody got taken out by the blue shell, so he's going to have no trouble going on here. Obiyo moving on to Moo Moo Farm. That track does not have any shortcuts, so you just drive it just the normal way. It has a lot of moles that pop out. You can see that they're not always going to be popping out at the same time. It is completely random whether or not they will pop out. They do so about a third of the time. So sometimes you'll see none, sometimes you'll see all, but you typically see a combination of some sort. So Lewis is going to have some time to make up. Obiyo taking the early lead. And the uneven ground in Moo Moo Farm is what really makes it tough to avoid the moles. Obiyo hitting one. Fortunately for this category, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, really. Yeah, you do lose 2 or 3 seconds, but really just trying to get over these walls, clip out of bounds, do all the skips is really where you're going to save a lot of time. So it's really negligible. It's not run ending like you would believe in no skips, where any mistake is just terrible. You know, just wasting a second or two is not good in no skips. So this is very lackadaisical. You make a mistake, not the biggest deal. Obiyo coming across with the 114.49. And yeah, Lewis's mic is on because that's actually his only audio input. So I'll try to bridge the gap. Oh, Lewis hitting a mole as well. I'm just gonna essentially be talking over it most of the time, anyways. So not the biggest deal. If need be, I can come up with some sound effects. So Obiyo is going to get started on Koopa Troopa Beach. This one doesn't have any unintended shortcuts, but it does feature a nice glitch, which we may see Obiyo go and try. So you just drive around? Yeah, get the custom sounds. So the cave jump here is intended, or at least we deem it so, because of the placed ramp there. So it doesn't count, and you can do that in a no skips category. We'll see Obiyo go to the left, hit the items, and what he's trying to do is get an 8th place item. What happens is at the end of the lap, right before you cross the finish line, the polygons are actually mapped such that the game thinks that you're in 8th place. So it was mapped improperly, naturally. So just for a brief moment, you can trigger those items right before you cross the line, and it'll think you're in 8th, and you can pull a star, which is the most ideal situation. Obiyo didn't get it either time, but nice tries. Or triple shrooms. If you ever want to get something, the star is the best. You save about 4 seconds each time. Lewis got something, but he got the blue shell. Not the best. You can just hit it on the wall as you pass the turtle there. I appreciate all the praise, guys. The golden mushroom is the second best, and the triple shrooms are at least something. So Obiyo's still in a decent lead. He's ahead by over a lap still. And we're coming up to the final part of Mushroom Cup here, which is Calamari Desert, aka Karakara Desert. And there's a few different variances that we'll see depending on whether or not they know how to do them. The biggest one, the most safe skip is the star glitch. which basically what you do is you go to the first items, then you wait for all of the CPUs to pass you, and you're trying to pull a star, which Obiyo does second try. Very nice. Didn't have to wait. Sometimes you can get really, really blocked by the game by not getting any item that you want. You want to get a star, you want to get triple reds, or maybe even a single red or a blue shell. And what you saw there was Obiyo went into the end of the cave there, following the train. And as soon as the Lakitu tells you that you're going the wrong way, you just turn around because you've crossed over the horizontal plane of the finish line. And as long as you have a star activated while you cross it again, the game will count a lap. And that was actually developer intended for you to drive on the track, but they intended you to do it from the other side, kind of where the train is, where Obiyo is now. So they wanted you to go off to the left here, trigger the stars so that you can get through the cave, but they didn't count on us doing it from the other side, so the near side. So that's kind of where the programming really fell short on that one. Now Lewis should be able to show us the trick with the shell here. He's essentially just going to try and hit himself over the fence. It's really risky, especially with the train trailing him there. So Obiyo hitting the reset. We do not watch the ceremony, so toss it forward. And essentially the way that red shells and blue shells work is that you fire them forward, and there's no AI on it yet. If you fire it forward, it's going to go straight forward, and then the AI will actually start tracking either the next person in front of you, like reds, or whoever's in first place following a set path. Lewis going to do the green shell, which I've only seen Abney do. This is really risky. Oh, man. He's going to have a really tough time. Oh, this would be crazy if he got it right now. Oh, he's so far back now. Uh-oh. Gonna have a really, really tough time now. Oh, God. Oh, all right. Yeah, that works too. Oh, man, that... usually you just want to kind of line it up. It looks like one of the tracks, and fire it forward. So Lewis has quite the gap now that he's going to have to cross. So onward to Toad's Turnpike, the first track of the second cup of 4 cups, and he was going for the swag, and I applaud him for that. So what you'll see, I'll explain it on Lewis's side now, is they're going to want to go out of bounds right away. And whenever you go out of bounds, what happens is the Lakitu is going to pick you up and place you back on the course. But the game doesn't know what to do when the Lakitu has already been spawned. If there's one already there, a second one's not going to come out and place you back on the track. So instead of it counting you out of bounds, you can actually just fall down onto the lower part, essentially what's the second half of the stage, without the Lakitu picking you up. And what happens is the Lakitu is confused at this point. This kind of goes into the whole confusing the checkpoints thing, because now you can go through the lap, go out of bounds again, and the Lakitu is like, oh yeah, you belong down at that lower part. He's going to keep putting you back there. So once you've done it successfully that first time, you can just go out of bounds, and the Lakitu will help you out the rest of the way. So Lewis getting it really quick. It looks like I don't think that Obiyo had any problems, but I was kind of focused on the green shell skip for Lewis, so I believe he had a clean one, and I believe they're going to be about the same difference. So Obiyo on Frapp Snowland, again, confusing the checkpoints. You go backwards on the track, and you want to go to where that bridge is. And as long as you don't touch the actual road and just hop onto the side into the deep snow, you can cross over the finish line, and the Lakitu, again, places you back where it thinks you ought to be, which is the bridge, and it counts the lap. So you rinse and repeat, easiest shortcut in the game, one of the most well-known ones, very short, as long as you don't, get bumped by, the CPUs or fall into the water. That's really the only ways that you can really mess up. Or, of course, touching the ground, and then having the Lakitu not count the lap. So onward to Choco Mountain. This can be a really big gatekeeper as far as a skips run can go, especially when you're a bit newer. There are two, well, really three spots you can do. They should pretty much always be going for at least one of them, which will save a lot of time. Obiyo getting the first, what we would consider the first backup, which does save a lot of time. You'll roll over with about 25 seconds, which is awesome. It's a great lap time. If you get the bigger skip, which is just before that point, right before that kind of like that hump in the ground, you can bump the wall and make a large jump, which you can get down to like a 22-second lap, which is really awesome. It's pretty risky, but you can always hit these backups here. Obiyo, it looks like he just goes for one and just continues on. Smart choice. You really on that cobblestone wall there, you can easily hit those jumps on the left-hand side or the right-hand side where it's kind of a bit lower. If you miss it, you can really be a run ender if you go for it too many times. So it's smart to do it a couple times and just keep going. Lewis can make up some time here by hitting the large jump. And essentially what you do is you charge a mini turbo, and right before or right as you're hitting the wall, you just hit R, and you'll maintain your forward momentum and bump yourself up over the wall. Lewis hits the wall, but was not an ideal speed or angle, so it just crashes you immediately. We call that a 0 frame. There was 0 frames for you to really make it over the wall, so it can be a bit finicky, but you kind of feel it out as you get a little bit more experience. So sometimes you just had no chance to get over the wall. That's essentially what it is, given the speed, the angle, even though, in other, really bad banana placement there. Or should I say great banana placement by the Skynet controlled CPUs. Obiyo onto the last track in the game, Mario Raceway. Lewis going around, very smart choice. Obiyo's going to do it non-shortcut. It does feature 2 skips, one using a mushroom and one using either red shells or a blue shell. Much like how you saw with the red shells or the blue shell on Luigi Raceway, you essentially just want to hit yourself over the brick wall right around where the finish line is, and then it'll just count the lap. So you just kind of do a circle around the finish line. Lewis hitting the large skip right there. That was a great example. He didn't quite get caught on the wall, which is good. So you can see, yeah, he got hit a sub 22 lap, which is awesome. That was a great lap. So really, like I said, it can really come down to the second half of the game. So even though Lewis is essentially an entire track behind, it is by no means a statement that he still does not have a chance, because the second half, it can be really brutal, especially Wario Stadium, which is the great equalizer in a lot of these races. Looks like Lewis is going to buffer for what looks to be red shells. He gets a blue shell, so he's going to line it up, and he does get reds. Okay, so you're trying to abuse the fact that the shell once that AI turns the shell around, you're abusing the fact that it does that, and you just run into it and bump yourself over the wall. So Obiyo, this is essentially kind of the same thing in a different way. You just kind of want to do a circle around the finish line. So you just bump over the wall. The second one on Wario Stadium is much tougher. You kind of want to line yourself up about parallel with the flag, but sometimes you don't have enough speed, you don't have a good angle, you get 0 framed, you don't get over. So coming back is where it's really tough. Obiyo having a great Wario Stadium so far. He's getting over pretty quick. Lewis missed that third red shell, so he's going to be forced to go around. There's only a very small chance of getting a single red shell in first place, and by the time you get items again, it's not really worth it. But he did save some time going through that, so still worth resetting. So he's onward. He's close to Obiyo. Yeah, that was very good. Sub 52 second Wario Stadium is very ideal. Sometimes you can have those where a lap can sometimes be less than 10 seconds, and sometimes you can have like 40-second laps. So that I would count as a very, very solid Wario Stadium. So Lewis, if he has a faster one, he can really make up a lot of time here. This is really one that, I saw somebody get a sub 30 second earlier today, Super Viper T, Wow, Lewis just barely making it behind the finish line. Sometimes you can get pushed forward. No, but the lightning is going to slow him down. He's not going to be able to get over the wall now. That is really unfortunate. Just to let you know how unlucky that is. Only the eighth place CPU has a 1% chance to get a lightning bolt. So it is highly unlikely. Lewis getting bounced straight up. What happened there? That is really unlucky. Now he's getting 0 frames, so you can really see how Wario Stadium can really mess you up. Obiyo is on Sherbet Land, so he is driving non-shortcut. There's a TAS only shortcut that is not ideal. You essentially use a mushroom and bounce off of a CPU into the center ice patch. Lewis coming through 105. You know, realistically, he could have saved a lot of time there. The last lap messed him up a little bit, but he didn't lose a lot of time compared to Obiyo. So, like I said, still comes down to Special Cup. Still plenty of things that can happen. I can only curse them so much. So he does the AB spin at the start for swag, and the Penguins are on a set cycle. So you essentially know where they're gonna be. You know where they're gonna be unless you make a mistake. You slow down, or sometimes even going too fast can mess you up because you're expecting them to be in a certain spot, particularly in the cave. The cave, if that first penguin is right in that little gap, it's really tough to get around. Obiyo having a good one, and he's gonna move on to Royal Raceway. Lewis, so far so good. The CPU is really trying to leave some items in his way, kind of. No problem for Lewis. So Obiyo is going to come around that 180, and he's trying to see that little diagonal line in the wall. You want to bump the wall right in front of it. Obiyo was not far enough to the right. You have to be to the right of that crease in the wall, and there's a lot of space to the right of it. So as long as you're to the right of that crease, Obiyo just making it. The game now thinking, because of those checkpoints, it was wondering, where did you fall off and where should it place you back? So once you bump that wall, you can see that the placement suddenly jumps to first place. It thought that you would have conceivably or feasibly fallen from the ramp. So you've confused the checkpoint now, touching that polygon, and the Lakitu is going to help you out and just warp you right up to the ramp. So rinse and repeat 3 times. We'll probably see the second part, Obiyo making it again. Nice work, first try. And anytime that you fall in the water and you miss it, you lose about 10 seconds. So if you miss one, you've pretty much lost most of the time that you would have saved. You'll really only save about 2, maybe 3 seconds if you're a ridiculous driver, if you fall in once. So each time that Obiyo falls, it could be a 10-second potential time save for Lewis now. Lewis making it first try. Nice work. And we'll probably see him do the second part, so you can just jump off to the left right there. And again, the game wants to know, where did you fall off to land in the water over here? It thinks that you were across the water. It is something that only saves a fraction of a second, so if you mess it up, again, you're losing over 10 seconds. Most people in a race, especially on a tournament race, aren't going to go for it. But Lewis does want to save a bit of time, and he's good at it, so he's definitely gonna go for it every time. Not one that I personally do, because the risk is not quite worth the reward, in my personal opinion. But hey, if you can save a half second and you know you can do it, then why not? Very nicely done. So onward to Bowser's Castle for Obiyo. This is another track, much like Sherbet Land. It has thwomps on a cycle, so as long as you're driving about, a proper pace, for what you're comfortable with, you can essentially know which of these thwomps are going to be up, which ones are going to be down, or these next ones coming up going left and right. You're gonna know where to maneuver. But the CPUs are going to really nice Peach circuit from Lewis. Nice job. The CPUs are really evil about putting bananas, fake item boxes around corners when you can't see what's coming, particularly by that rope bridge where the lava is. And you're really just trying to have those fast twitch reflexes to kind of go around it, but it's dangerous. You can spin yourself out in the lava too. Obiyo hitting the thwomp there, so he gets slowed down a little bit. DK is going to be catching up. That's where things get really, really interesting. Because when the CPUs get caught up, they start laying more items. And of course, DK can just bump into you. Wow, DK and Bowser sandwich about to happen. Can be really interesting. This is one of those tracks, whether you play shortcut or non-shortcut, is really a run ender. It's really tough. You can get messed up. You can get messed up by at any point in this, and at any skill level either. You're not exempt from getting messed up at BC just because you're like better at driving. It'll happen to anybody. So Lewis, it looks like he's gaining up. He's within a lap now, about a lap and a half now. So creeping up that Royal Raceway really did help him out. Obiyo's gonna finish, reset, and onward to the final cup, special cup. Maintaining his lead this whole time. Nice work. Yeah. Heavyweights right behind you is nasty. They can really do a number on you. All right, onward. All right, DK Jungle Parkway. So we're gonna see Obiyo turn around right away, and this is gonna be kind of abusing the fact that the finish line actually extends out into like pretty much right onto the edge of the cave, and there's a section of the wall where you can just clip out of bounds, and as long as you are enough to the right, you're going to cross over the finish line. It's going to count the lap. We saw Obiyo do it properly there. But you want to be to the left enough that you fall into the cave still. So you cross over the finish line, fall into the cave, and the game thinks that you went over the finish line, so therefore you have gone a whole lap now because you're at the cave, and it's going to update you on that. Now, it is a very small gap for you to make. If you're too far to the right, you're going to get popped into the jungle, and it takes a while for you to go back into the cave, set it back up. If you're too far to the left, you'll fall into the cave, but then you're not going to trigger the lap. So it's very important. Obiyo kind of in the in-between there. You didn't fall quite in the cave, but he did cross over the finish line. He did get a little bit of the graphical glitch on that one. So he did cross it over. The Legato did place him up there, and he can just cross the finish line now. Lewis going for some quick setups. He has a good amount of time to save here if he just nails these. Looks like he wasn't. So that was a good example from Lewis's side. He wasn't far enough to the right to cross over what's still counting as the finish line extension. He got it that time, but he's gonna fall in the water. Not as fast, but he got it. That's important. Getting a little bit of the graphical glitch there. Obiyo onward to Yoshi Valley. So this one has a few different things that you can do. The safe setup is just to go to the right. And again, this is another one of those abuse of the finish line. And you're essentially just hitting where about the finish line is across the way. And so he's going to roll off. He's going to bump to the left, and then it's going to count a lap. Really not sure how that one works. I don't know how they would have programmed polygons on the side of the wall to update your, where you're supposed to be, but it just works. Now that he got triple mushrooms, which is very, very good, we're going to see him do it from the other side. So he's going to use one because it looks like he's not going to do them at all. So, I guess he only needs one, so he was using those to get back up. Smart choice, honestly. And you're looking for that big dark crease right there. You bump against that, and it thinks that you crossed the way, but then it thinks that you went all the way back. So when it places you back down, it's just going to count the lap as soon as the Lakitu places you down. Lewis YOLOing the setup. He hits it, nails it. Nice work. Nice 101 time from Obiyo. This is gonna be one of those ones where it comes down to the final stage. Still anything can happen still. When they're this close, Lewis falling down does on this one is particularly brutal because it's a long way down. It's a long way down. So Obiyo still maintaining a decent lead. Lewis did luckily get the mushroom. Somebody laid a banana. The CPU's caught up to him a little bit. Or should I say they're right where they ought to be, but he's on the next lap. Banshee Boardwalk is a course that has no shortcut that is viable for a human to do. This is another one just like Sherbet Land, tasks only. You ramp off of a CPU with a mushroom, like, you know, heavyweight being like, you know, excuse me. Ideally, it would be a heavyweight like Bowser, Wario, DK, and you bump off the CPU and you clear the finish line, and then the game thinks that you triggered the lap. It's really inconsistent, not viable for RTA unless some sort of setup could be found. So this one they just drive not in shortcut. So right about now, so Lewis is about 2 laps behind. You know, there is a gap, but Rainbow Road has really surprised us. It has 2 major skips, 3, you know, if you count the CPU jump, which Lewis may go for. 3, the CPU jump will save more time than doing just the normal jump at the beginning of Rainbow Road. It'll save a good amount of time, but really getting and setting up the green shell skip is where it really comes down to. You know, if you don't pull any greens, can be a problem. If you pull them twice, if you pull them and miss, you really only have two attempts before the CPUs are going to catch up to you, and then you can't get green shells after that. So in which case you'll be forced to do it again. So whoever gets a green shell skip first can win. If you don't make the first jump, the other person can win. You know, it's still too tough to tell. If Obiyo nails this and the green shell skip, I would count that as tough, as done. Obiyo not having enough speed, he's not gonna be able to fall down. He just didn't clear enough space, so he's gonna get placed back at the top, and he's gonna be forced to go around unless he is able to hop back up. Excuse me. So that's a big indicator. So now he's gonna be coming around. He just ended Banshee Boardwalk. By the time that Rainbow Road begins for him, he's going to have a really big opportunity to get caught up. I'm not sure if he knows. I assume that he also is watching and knows where Obiyo is at, give or take, just because of the delay. But if he nails the normal one here, he's gonna essentially just halven the amount of time that he lost. Nice. Okay, so he makes it. Great. So he's right before that spiral that Obiyo just went up. Obiyo is having a tough time getting a green. Lewis pulls a green right away. Obiyo now has the green, so now he is officially in the lead. If he can just pull the first green shell skip off, it's going to come down to this. This is why I say at the beginning, I try to prep you with that. No matter how much of a lead somebody has, unless it's like 2+ stages, it really comes down to this. It really does. So this is, you know, if not one of the most important skips in the entire game, especially in the race category. Obiyo having a good setup. He just has to hit it. Doesn't have enough speed. It looks like you want to have, you know, be letting. Oh no! Hitting the banana and he's going down. He's not going to be able to get back up. Oh no! Tragedy, tragedy. So, Lewis going for the YOLO. Okay, so he goes for the YOLO, but it was way out of it, way out of his bounds. Now he's got to be able to get another green. Pulls one. Nice work. This is why the ending is so exciting, because it can go any way. Even with that in mind, Lewis hitting it, and we'll see. So he knocks himself with the green shell over the star wall, because that's one of the only ways you can get over him. and he crosses the finish line, and the lack of 2 places you back up, and you just do it again. So it knew that, you know, where you exited the stage, but the game is going to count a whole lap in that case. So as long as he pulls this one off right here, it's over, and he does. Nice work. Lewis wins at the end. See, he was behind the entire time. He was behind the entire game, the entire match rather, and he pulls it out. Nice work, Lewis. Great job. That's crazy. And he rolls over with a 31:02. The comeback, the young gun, the legend. Great job, GG, sir. Yep. Nicely done. Oh, Obiyo just letting it go just barely too early. And he wasn't able to get caught up. You can tell you essentially want to triple tap A so you can get up to top speed and release the green as soon as you're at top speed so you can get caught up. Doesn't have a decent angle. Looks like he's going to be forced to go around again. You hate to see it, but hey, that's Rainbow Road. Really tough to get over with the star. Having any kind of speed differential with the star or getting hit by a banana, it's tough to gauge at that point.
Yo.
Lewis, GG. Congrats on the really crazy come from behind victory on that one. Nicely done.
Yeah. I was like super nervous the whole time. That was kind of insane.
Yeah. When you had trouble with those greens on Calamari Desert, I was like, uh-oh, this is gonna be tough. But I guess like I did prep this in the beginning of the race. Rainbow Road, Rainbow Road. It always comes down to Rainbow Road, like 90% of the time.
Yeah. I'm glad that I'm pretty consistent at Rainbow Road.
Absolutely. And the reds on Mario Raceway helped. Got kind of a shame on that third one though, but you still saved a good amount of time.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened on the third one. Like, I thought the setup looked good, but I just missed, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes if you're not, like if you release it just before you're at top AAA speed, kind of like the green shell, just it is pretty strict timing and spacing, so it's honestly one I have yet to master myself.
Yeah, and then like Wario Stadium, I went to do it. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm gonna make all the time back, and I hit like the first 5 or 6 like man. Easy, and I get struck by lightning.
Yeah, the lightning that that was such a bummer. And Obiyo finishing with a 33-30 GGs. We get a bunch of GGs in the chat for both players. I'll mark them as
done. Like, struck me so much. And then like it was like 40 seconds before I hit the final jump or something insane.
Yeah. You had a great first and second lap, and then you just got 0 framed forever on Wario Stadium. That was tough luck. I felt bad, but I mean, you nailed Rail Raceway and the second skip too. No surprises there, honestly.
Thanks.
The missing the blue shell on Luigi Raceway. Oh, and not touching the polygon. That was like the first.
I thought I got that. I thought I touched the polygon, and then I went back to get the blue shell, and then like I didn't get to first place, and I had to like wait for some CPUs and like do the slow setup.
Yeah.
I lost so much time.
Yeah.
My mushroom cup was an 8:22, and in my last race it was an 8:23.
Wow.
So I need to practice mushroom cup for these races, I guess.
Apparently, but I mean, at the same time, like Luigi Raceway can be really inconsistent. Even if you touch the polygon, somebody's gonna never get the reds. I never do.
Yeah, well, I'm not even going for the reds. I'm just going for the single blue at this point. But I don't
know.
Maybe I should just do the USA cartridge and just do the DK jump.
Oh, perhaps, yeah.
I'll at least save time somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever hit the green shell skip on Calamari Desert? I've never even seen anybody else go for that other than Beck.
Yeah, I've practiced it a lot, but
Nice. I mean,
haven't done
it looks like you guys just used like the side like the train tracks. Just kind of line up with that. Just like let it bounce a couple times.
Yeah, I think I got the setup right actually. I think I like
Yeah.
missed the MT though, so I didn't quite have enough speed.
Got it. Okay, I was wondering why you didn't get caught back up with them. Nice. All right, so coming up in these skips tournaments, we're actually having tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time, Armin versus KT the Creeper. So come out and see that. We have a special commentator, Summoning Salt. You may have heard of him. So it's gonna be an exciting race, interesting commentary. Can't wait. I'll actually be busy, but I'm definitely gonna be seeing the VOD on that one.
Yeah, I think both players are like pretty good and pretty close in skill level, so it could be a really good match.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. And then coming up later in the week on the 24th, so Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have Climate versus Abney, and Zoran and Matthias on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then the end of round 2 will be Smurfy versus Maul, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And that's going to be Saturday as well. So hope to catch you guys out. GG's to both the competitors tonight. Thank you so much for SpeedGaming for hosting us here. And we'll catch you guys next time.